Welcome to By Candlelight, beaming goth, dark wave and post-punk straight into your brain. But don't worry, because sometimes, just sometimes, a crow can put the wrong things right by bringing you an aspirin. Yep, today I'm reviewing the 2024 reboot of The Crow, starring Bill Skarsgard and FKA Twigs as Eric and Shelly respectively. This got a lot of hate right from day one, didn't it? I talked about my hopes and fears right up there. I'm not going to look at it, that's exactly what it wants. So I wanted to come at this film open-minded, so I tried not to read the reviews in too much detail. Oh, and there will be spoilers here. Freaking loads of them. If you haven't seen the film and you intend to, walk away now. I will not be offended. Just pop back when you're done. And could you bring me a coffee? So this remake, on a simplistic level, is basically the plot of The Crow that we know. Mostly. Couple gets attacked by gang, couple die, male comes back from dead for revenge via a crow that provides a very comprehensive resurrection and superpower service. The original 1994 film is iconic for a number of reasons that we know only too well. Its sense of style, its film noir aesthetic, its music, and most importantly, as a memorial film for Brandon Lee. That's not even touching on its existence as a beloved graphic novel. So does this reboot live up to all of this? No, it doesn't. Not in any way. Not at all. Not even one little bit. In fact, I'm freaking angry about it. I will explain why. Firstly, Shelly and Eric's relationship. So in the 1994 original, we barely see Shelly, bar some post-attack scenes and some flashbacks. The remake promised to explore the Eric-Shelly backstory. This was one of very few reasons why I was looking forward to this remake. Maybe looking forward to is pushing it a little bit. What we get is Shelly and Eric meeting for the first time in a rehabilitation facility. So you don't get an established relationship just prior to them marrying like you do in the original. Further than that, the water is muddied from the outset by having them meet in a rehabilitation facility. Yeah, the original character of Eric was an addict, which was very much downplayed in the 90s film, but it's another unnecessary obstacle that distracts from the establishment of their relationship. I have a huge amount of respect for the two leads. Bill is able to transform himself into various characters and always commits fully to his roles. FKA is a wonderfully inventive recording artist and dancer, and actually is more than capable of holding her own on screen. But there is zero chemistry here. And why would you start the film by having them meet for the first time in a rehabilitation facility? Felt like I had to say rehabilitation facility in the same voice as before, just for consistency. Rehabilitation facility. Try it. It actually feels quite good. The bond between the two characters has to be rushed to get the film underway, so you never really believe the undying love that they're meant to have for each other. And this is a huge mistake. Because the greater the love between Eric and Shelly that we as viewers see and believe, the more heartbreaking it is when they're taken away. And ultimately, the sweeter the revenge. We witness far more chemistry between Sophia and Brandon in the original than we do across the whole of this reboot with Bill and FKA. And Brandon and Sophia's screen time together must have been, what, a minute? Less than that? Next, we have Eric's visual aesthetic. The image and style of Eric is a big deal. This is a character established in graphic novels, the OG film, and the world over in fancy dress and cosplay. We'd seen early images of Bill in the part, and it didn't look right, did it? Whilst there has to be some flexibility with design, costume, and general aesthetics, There's only so far you can go with such an iconic character before it starts to feel like it's veering way off base. You might modernise DC or Marvel characters a little, but you wouldn't totally change it. I can almost forgive Bill's hairstyle here. Almost. Not only does Bill's living Eric closely resemble his crowed up Eric, the essence of this character is not here in the makeup or the clothing. Thirdly, Eric's powers. Whilst it takes him a long time to acquire his powers, I'll talk about that later, you just want him to kick some serious bad guy ass. And I don't mean suddenly turning into a martial artist like in the OG. Other than being invincible and able to heal, which to be fair is pretty special, you don't get the sense of him ruling over the bad guys. And this is something that Eric has truly earned because of the death of his loved one. Sure, there's a lot of violence and he does overcome the evil, but there's not enough of that otherworldly power here to match the severity of the crime. The original character was born out of personal loss and grief due to creator James O'Barr losing his fiancée due to a drunk driver. So you really get the sense that the supernatural power that is within Eric is almost James's grief coming out and his frustration and anger and him wanting maybe even revenge. Reading between the lines, this could have been a projection of O'Barr's emotional state at the time. Fourthly, the pacing. Oh my dark days. The pacing. So due to plot choices, you have to establish an undying love from scratch in a rehabilitation facility. Then both characters have to escape and then obviously die. Then you have these little visits to this purgatory type place where Eric receives guidance from this character called Kronos. Then there's this period where Eric is able to heal, but he doesn't really seem that powerful. After doubting his love for Shelly, due to reasons that I won't go into here, he loses his powers and dies again. Making a deal with Kronos to take Shelly's place in hell for one last chance to kill the bad guy. This time he gets properly crowed. I mean, like, really crowed. I'm talking about a crow in the back. But this happens at about an hour and 15 into the film. So you have to wait a long time before you get to see some serious Eric action. But do you really care about the outcome at this point? No. Not really, because the chemistry, bond and love for the character he is meant to be avenging was never established properly to begin with. Other than all these points, I have to say yet again that the original 90s film was a memorial film. Brandon unfortunately passed during the making of it, and that alone should have sealed off any possibility of a remake. But here we are with such a poorly made reboot that is almost disrespectful to its original on-screen actor. Generally, remakes and reboots are highly scrutinised as it is. Put one foot wrong or change something in the universe and you risk heavy criticism. But the 1994 version of The Crow cuts deeper than that. In fact, in the same way as some buildings are listed or are under a preservation order, so it should be for films like this, where a list of guidelines or limitations must be adhered to receive the green light for the reboot in the first place. It's a shame because there are some genuinely thrilling moments in this film, such as the scene in the opera house. With the operatic backdrop, this provides a rare sense of style here, with the music providing a heightened sense of drama, with the beautiful passages working as a juxtaposition to the violent visuals. Whilst the film's soundtrack will never reach the heights of the original, they do give it a fair stab here, with tracks by Joy Division, and no, it's not Dead Souls. That would be weird. Gary Newman and, surprisingly, Traitors. But what artist do they use for Eric's transformation scene that isn't really a transformation? Enya. Just gonna let that sit for a while. With the film's ending changed, apparently to facilitate a sequel, I feel a how dare you marching towards this review. If you haven't seen the original or don't really care for it, I can imagine this being a decent watch. But for us types, this is a no-go area, in my opinion. You don't really care about the characters because they have no chemistry, and the essence of Eric, both in his aesthetics and the colossal powers he should have, is not here. What the actual hell were they thinking? I am hoping that the mainly negative reviews kill a possible sequel, but you just never know. I think I may need to go and have a lie down. What did you guys think of this film? Did you like it? Let me know in the usual place. Until next time. Rehabilitation facility.